Hi, everyone. Shayna and I are back here today with our Kick-Ass Leadership Series, and we are so excited to start a new little mini series talking about all aspects of communication.
Yes, we are very excited to be talking about it. There's a couple different aspects of it. I know, Jen, that you and I want to share with people, but today's topic is really focused on a technique or a tool that's so easy to use that really helps the person that you are speaking to, whoever that is. It doesn't need to be professional, it can be in any situation, to really help them feel heard and seen. And that is what we call acknowledging and validating.
Yeah, when we're in communication with other people, and like you said, it doesn't always have to just be thinking about work communication. It could be your children, your partner, or even somebody at a store. Having the other person, whether or not you agree with them, having them feel heard and gotten is a tremendous gift and a tremendous way to really reduce hassle and ease the communications in your life.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think we're so busy, right? And so I don't think it's uncommon for people to feel like whoever they're talking to is very distracted. So when we really bring these tools forth, and really it's two in one, and we'll break them out, it does allow somebody to feel like, wow, somebody's really paying attention to me, and I feel like they are listening. And it doesn't mean that we're agreeing, but it
Right.
means that we are showing listening.
Exactly. And so when somebody walks away, not feeling wrong, not feeling like somebody tried to fix them, but that somebody just got them, it's amazing. So let's dive into the first part of this skill, which is acknowledging. And acknowledging is basically when we let the other person know that we heard them. We don't want to parrot it back word for word, but in a way, it's sort of like a reflection of what you heard them say.
Yeah, it's sort of like being able to hear what somebody's saying, show them that you're listening globally, and letting them feel like you are present with them. See what I did there?
Yes, I did. That was pretty sneaky. Yeah. So would you like to give people an example?
Sure, I'd love to. So you might say something like, so if I'm hearing you correctly, and then you kind of share back what you heard them say. And sometimes you use maybe really pertinent words that you heard them say. And sometimes you might use a word that's sort of a synonym of what you heard. You might say something like, let me make sure I got what you said. And then you say it back. Or you might just simply kind of say it back in a way that's similar but different. Sounds funny, but what's interesting is it allows somebody to continue to elaborate and share even more of whatever it is that they're thinking. It's sort of a way to naturally open somebody up so that you can really hear what's going on for them.
That's exactly right. And what happens is that when a person is experiencing that the other person in a conversation is actually listening to them and getting them, it starts to create a safe space. They start to feel that it's okay to share. And that's when more will come out and communication is just furthered and advanced. And from there, outcomes will always be better. Why don't I give you a little scenario very quick, and then we'll move on to validating. And why don't you show people what it's like to acknowledge me? So, Shayna, I'm really upset because I just got into a fight with my best friend and it was over the silliest thing. And I'm just like, I don't know why she gets so angry at me so easily. And I really don't know what to do about it.
It can be so frustrating, Jen, when you're in a relationship with somebody like that and that kind of thing happens where you feel like you don't really know what you did, but now they're in a space that makes you probably feel badly too.
Yeah, exactly. So, and from there, I might be inclined to say, yeah, and and keep going. So, an acknowledgement is just that it's acknowledging what somebody else is saying without infusing an opinion, a solution, a judgment, just listening and getting it. So, let's move on to validating.
So, validating is really being able to understand what somebody's emotional experience is and helping them feel seen with the emotional experience they're having. Again, it doesn't mean that you agree with it. It simply means that you are showing them that whatever they are feeling is normal, it is valid, it is fine to be having those feelings.
And normalizing and validating is so important because these days, I mean, let's just face it, out there in our world, there's so much judgment everywhere. And what a lot of people will do is they'll shut down because they're afraid. They're afraid of being judged, or they're already judging themselves and maybe feeling some shame. And when we validate somebody, we give them that gift of having what they're feeling just be okay. Like it's okay that you're feeling that. Even if I don't agree with it, my opinion of it, quite honestly, is irrelevant.
It's also interesting because if we hear some charged emotions, especially ones that are harder emotions, the person that's sharing them actually is experiencing a release of those emotions. And it's actually a release of energy, which we've talked about before.
Yes.
It allows them to start to even move forward towards a solution without you having to do anything other than be there with them in that experience. It's kind of a powerhouse move. So that you're listening and that you care. It boosts engagement immediately. It's actually a bit of a tool of influence too. And all you're doing is simply being present with somebody.
Yeah, it's incredibly powerful. And like we said earlier, the validating part of it, along with the acknowledging, will have somebody feel safe, feel heard, and that they're going to want to keep opening up, keep sharing more, and release even more energy, which may or may not, be something that needs to be addressed further, or it may be something they just need to get off their chest. One of the hardest places to apply this skill is if it's somebody is saying something that you don't agree with. If somebody is saying something that you don't actually agree with, you can still acknowledge them. You can acknowledge what they're feeling, but you don't have to give any opinions. You do not have to pretend to agree. This is not about being inauthentic.
Absolutely. So maybe we'll do a sample if that works.
Sure.
I'll give you a little scenario that's real that you were just dealing with me. Jen, I have this new puppy and she is incredible and we love her. Except when I'm on client calls, that is when she wants to bark and play and needs to go outside. And it is incredibly frustrating because it's all of a sudden I'm present and I'm with somebody. And then I have this little adorable yapping puppy that needs to be handled and wants to go outside and wants to be with me. And so I love her so much, but sometimes the days can be a little tricky with trying to balance all of it.
Yeah, Shayna, I hear you. Puppies are so cute and we love them so much. And of course, you're excited to have her in your life. But when even something so cute serves as a distraction, it can be so frustrating. And sometimes in the moment, you may not even know what to do with if you're on with a client.
Beautifully done. You know what you didn't say, Jen, that I think sometimes people think is part of this tool and it's really not? You didn't say, I know how you feel.
Yeah.
The truth of it is, nobody really knows how anybody feels. And so, thank you, by the way, for not saying that. And I think it's good for people to know that that's something you want to be mindful of.
Yeah, thanks for pointing that out because I always say 99.999% of the time that you think you know what somebody's thinking, you're wrong. When we say, I know how you feel, it is actually a little bit invalidating and not validating. It's actually can be the opposite.
Yes, exactly.
And the other thing that I didn't do is try to give you a solution. Like say, hey, well, have you tried giving her another toy or putting her in another room? Because you weren't looking for solutions.
No, there's nothing more frustrating than that.
We call that unsolicited advice. Yeah.
So we've got these incredible two tools, two in one, acknowledge and validate. You think about it, think about moments that you've had when you've felt maybe shut down or unheard or unsupported. Think about how your experience maybe would have changed if somebody acknowledged what you said and validated how you felt.
It's a game changer for sure. So I'm excited for our next session. We are going to add more to the communication discussion because at the end of the day, like we said, everything in life comes down to relationships and communication. And when you master that, everything becomes easier.
Absolutely. Good to see you, Jen.
Good to see you, Shayna. Thank you.